I don't like my boring work table. There's nothing to look at. I don't want something complicated like a fish tank or an aquarium or something. I can't handle it. So I decided to build a ecosystem. Easy to take care, a little world inside a glass container. So let's build a terrarium. I'll be honest, I never built one before. I will share how I put this together in this video, step by step. And even though I said I don't want anything complicated, at the end something came up that I wasn't prepared for. So this glass is made up of 4 mm thickness and it is of the size 15 inches by width 3 inches and 4 inches of height. It's shallow in height, which is intentional. It keeps the terrarium compact and the design remains very clean and simple. That is what I wanted. So yeah. Now firstly, I will be adding a layer of potting mix into the container. This will help to create a bit of height and shape for the terrarium. By gently making a slope in the soil, I can make small natural landscape for the plants to settle in. And we have to mix it thoroughly and make sure that there is no clumps of soil. So this is very important to do, and this is how you can do it. So there will be a lot of trial and error. So in the center I wanted like a mountain kind of a thing, and this is how my landscape is becoming. I wanted like a curved structure that goes up and down, and there is a hill and there is a valley kind of a thing. I had found a big rock when I went to a trek, and honestly I had made it into a lot of pieces by breaking it down. And this step is a little bit trial and error, so you initially will not be knowing where to place the rock, whether to place it here or somewhere else. So this is not the final placement the rock will be going to, but this is an idea of how you can place the rocks. So I had to make a lot of trial and error to see where this rock will perfectly fit, and at the end I have decided something else. So the rock had a very natural, like a platform kind of a thing. So I wanted to make it like a hill which has a platform on the top. So the platform, basically the horizontal structure, I wanted to put some moss on top of that as well. So this is my plan. So it's all about what you feel is best and what looks good for your terrarium. So, have a good time. Have a good time figuring it out. Well, it took me like half an hour. I'm sprinkling the same pebbles that was from the original rock that I had broken down to make it look that it is naturally formed and not a sudden rock in the middle. I found this piece of wood lying on the side of the road while I was walking. I thought this will be a great piece adding to the collection and to make the terrarium look more natural and to feel like it's a slice of nature in my room. And take your time into figuring out what you want to do and how you want to shape your terrarium. This is more important because you will not be able to change it later on. Once everything is in place, I give it a light spray of water. It's important to settle the soil and also to keep the plants from drying in the near future. I have a couple of plants that I'm going to add. I'm adding Fittonia, the red kind and the green kind. I'm also having some other plants which are called hydro something. I'll be putting the text, I cannot read it. And also something called UP Lopi something. So these are the two additional plants that I'm going to put. And after that, then I will be having a lot of places where it will be empty. So those places will be filled by cushion moss. So cushion moss will be going everywhere else. So coming to what are all the things that will be needed in order to build the terrarium, you'll be needing some kind of tools like a scissor. Scissor is something that is useful, and you'll also be needing something like a tweezer. Tweezers are required for putting the small plants into places where your hands will not fit. So for me, I felt using a plier will be better than a scissor in order to cut the plants. So I'll be using a plier instead of a scissor. So plants like Fittonia is very easy. You just have to cut anywhere and can be multiplied into multiple plants. So you need to cut somewhere where you'll always have more than 3 or 4 leaves so that the sunlight can help it to grow roots and grow another plant. So you just need to cut like the way I'm showing you. You just need to cut it and you can just put it up in the soil and it'll grow into another plant. You need to make sure you're breaking the soil before you put the plant so that the roots do not need to put a lot of efforts in order to penetrate into the soil. I have put one Fittonia, green Fittonia on the left and I wanted to put one more next to it. So I saw that the soil there was a little less, so I wanted to add a little bit more of soil. So once I add the soil, I make sure that the soil is broken down and I will be not using a tweezer because it was in an awkward position that I won't be using a tweezer. I used my hand and it worked fine for me. Now I'll give a gentle spray of water, which is very important. Immediately once you put the plant, you have to sprinkle some water so that the plant don't dehydrate and they have enough water to sustain. Just like how I did it to the green Fittonia, I'll be doing the same to the red. I cut it out and I want to put one in the center and I'll be putting one on the right side. Now comes my favorite part, that is the moss. The cushion moss. The terrarium looks very good only because of moss is what I feel. It brings out the green and whole terrarium becomes a lot of more green than what it actually is. So in order to place the moss, you just need to put it onto the soil and press it gently. And you can use a tweezer. Do not use the sharp end, use the other end and you can press it gently into the soil and to make sure that the roots can touch the soil and slowly they will grab onto the soil like you cannot separate it ever. And then give a gentle spray of water and I'll be doing this again using some more moss. So the moss can be broken something like this. It won't hurt the moss, it won't jeopardize the growing of the moss, it will simply survive. So this particular platform that I was telling you about, the horizontal thing, I wanted to put a moss on top of the rock, which is a little cool thing. You know, like on the hill there is some kind of a green. This is what I wanted. I hope it will survive. I don't know. I just hope it survives. So this is how it came out. I'll be adding a little bit moss somewhere else. Wherever there is opening, I'll be putting some small mosses. Now comes the most difficult part of the video, to pronounce these names. I don't know how to pronounce, I'll be putting the names again.
My name is Devachurus. Nice to meet you, but you're stupid.
So you just need to cut it and this will just grow like anything. This is what the lady in the shop told me. So you can just put it anywhere in the soil and the roots will slowly grab onto the soil and they will grow. I have put this one like this and the smaller one, this is called Ely Billy something. So this will be growing and the same way. I'll be putting it in somewhere in the soil and I want to put it in the nooks and crannies of the rock so it will grow very nicely and look like natural and how the nature intended to grow. This is the final look of the terrarium. So building a terrarium is mostly about your choices and how you want your terrarium to look. I wanted mine to look something like this. Taking care of the terrarium is really simple. You just need to make sure that you are spraying enough water on a regular basis and make sure there is a light source above it so that the plants get some sunlight. Now let's reveal the terrarium. I'm covering my terrarium with a glass lid. This is important to make sure that the moisture and the water that you're going to spray is trapped inside the terrarium and do not evaporate away. I call it the ozone layer. I do have an external light source to make sure all the plants and the mosses get enough light to grow and to be happy. After 1 week, I am looking into my terrarium and I see something terrifying: life. Now that's for another video. For now, let us see how the terrarium is looking on my boring table, and let's see whether the table is boring or not. I hope I'll be able to walk now and not constantly see at the terrarium.